So, as we have to replace the whole back of the boat, we need to remove the swimming platform. And here we are, on it.
Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm MP. We love the ocean, so we decided to make it our home by buying a massive wooden schooner, which is unfortunately sinking.
A lot of people believe our boat is doomed, but we refuse to settle on that thought, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to bring it back to its former glory.
Join us on this refurbishing journey and wish us luck.
More exciting moments for Yabá. So, I'll start from the beginning. Very beginning. We had to remove a big piece from here, which meant we had to remove the rudder, which is that blue and dirty bit over here. To remove that as well, we had to remove a big piece of wood out of there and realize that the back of our boat, what the stern was rotten. So we are going to remove and replace these pieces of wood here because this is a very important part structurally. To do that, our swimming platform is in the way. So this is pretty exciting. These boards are going to have to be removed, but in order to do that, this all has to move back. So for now, we have already emptied these boxes both, and it's pretty cool to see how much space we actually have in here.
I don't know the name in English, sorry.
Anyway.
But we call it the mirror of the boat. It's rotten.
Do you like chocolate?
Chocolate cake.
Here. Let's find an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is the planks are huge, so we're going to need to replace 1, 2, 6. The disadvantage is they're huge. So we're going to have to replace 6 huge, I think. How thick would this be? 8 centimeters. It's a pity. Don't know if you can see, but there is a massive fishing boat back there, wooden. We think today it's going to be put in the water, so that's going to be an exciting sight. Funnily, what they did is the back part of that boat kept breaking, so what was wood, and of course it's a fishing boat, so a lot of stress is put on it. So what they did is they just stuck a piece of inox where the wood kept breaking often to solve the problem. I don't know if you remember that piece of wood here that they were cutting to place on the front of the boat. This piece was also a raw piece of wood, which needs some nice angles cut into it like this. This is not just any cut, it has to be cut at an angle so the side planks can fit nicely into it, because that's the top, that's the bottom, and these side planks should fit all nicely along here and rest against this part. So they have made the piece that will go to the back of the boat, which is amazingly done. All that's missing is the hole for the prop shaft. So this has been placed on top with nails, and this is to guide the drill. It should be nice and straight, not this way or this way. So that's what this is, just the guide. So this is going to the drill. This is going to guide this bit to make that big hole, and that's very hot. Woo. It's very handy having a welding company next to you that does massive projects and boats and whatnot, so we can just pop next door and ask them to weld us a new piece of drill bit or tool. Someone's come to eat me again. The drill has the regular drill bit with the drill bit end to make the big hole, and the front bit is just to guide it through the first hole that was made with a narrow long drill bit. So this will definitely work. That has already drilled through 5 centimeters, but to make sure it's straight through the whole way, that's the extra metal rod that was on it.
So this boat is about to go back to water, and it's really exciting seeing our neighbors going through it, because it gives us even more hope for our moment to arrive.
So we are just over a week in, and this keel is already where it should belong. It's not mounted to the boat yet, but it's been cut, it's been put under the boat, and it's ready to be mounted. And as you can see, it might need to be cut back a bit because it's not normal to have a keel this long. It'll probably come up to about here. So they're busy working on it over here. Super cool. So the joints are actually made. Let's see if we can find them. One of them is here. That's about where the first mast is. The second joint is over here, just about here, and they're busy fitting this together, which is super cool. That's in place, but still has to be cut a bit. This bolt's already in place, holding it to the boat. So once the keel's on, these are all going to be nice and flush. So this is like super exciting. Well, flush has to be put centered first. Very cool. the keels are currently held together by 2 bolts, one up here and one over here. They're going to add one with a stopper, which is that cottony stuff wrapped around the bolt to prevent water from coming from in here up to here. They were also painted with a paint to prevent the bolt from rusting. One more bolt. Once these joints have all been made and the bolts have been put in, the keel is going to be lifted up to the height so there's no more gap here, and then the last bolt is going to be put through each of the joints, straight through the frame and through this as well, which is going to hold the keel onto the boat. Once that's done as well, the boat's going to be lowered and the rest of the bolts are going to be put in to hold the keel onto the boat. I don't know if you remember when we were making the keel, the holes for the bolts were already made, which is very handy, so you don't need to try and do that now while it's under the boat. The last bolt to hold the keel together is going in, and a quick coffee break, and then pronto. So we've got all the bolts being cut. We've got a long 1 meter bars of inox screw, so that's being cut. The cotton's been put around it, it's been painted, goes in, and then that's literally a keel in one piece, so that's pretty exciting. Nice. Nice. We have 1 keel. So yeah, most people celebrate their boat going into water. We're going to celebrate our keel being put on. We're going to celebrate the boards and planks being ready.
We celebrated when we were out of water.
Yeah, we were probably the only boat celebrating that we got lifted.
True.
Most people celebrate going back in the water, which we'll also do. We thought this was going to take us months, and thanks to Elio and Beto, in 1 week, una semana. So what used to be here surrounding the prop shaft, resting on top of the keel, got removed because it was bad, then got turned into this, which then got turned into our brand new piece. Now what still has to be done, this is quite a raw cut, this hole has to be bigger, and these have to be cut to adjust to fit the prop shaft properly. So that's what they're here for. They've got a bunch of tools that I've never seen before, and we'll see what they're going to do with them. In my best Portuguese, I've asked what this does. It is a massive drill bit. So what I've understood is something goes in here, like something that sticks out probably. This is going to spin and make this bigger, so our prop shaft can fit through it. So that's about 11 centimeters. And that is probably about 6 or 7. And I asked him to clarify that because I don't know what they're doing on the other side, and he said wait, watch and see. So I'm quite curious. Now I get it. This bolt will go in here. All right, it'll get screwed and it's gonna stick out slightly. All right. So then what's gonna happen? Sorry, not a bolt, a blade.
Ferramenta de corte.
So then all that's gonna be done today by hand. This is gonna be turned and turned and turned until that screw, that blade goes all the way through to here and has made the hole big enough for the prop shaft. All these planks for and this propeller to make sure the screw, sorry, stays nice in the middle. Same on the other side. Those pieces of wood is just so it stays nicely in the middle. I didn't see that technique coming, but that's going to take forever. So it's gone all the way through at, let's say, this length. Now they're going to tighten the screw or loosen the screw to make the blade a bit longer, and you're going to go back. Now it's quite good because turning one direction the whole time is quite tough for the back and body, so we're going to turn the other way now. And we took this off was because the inside was just filled with sawdust, and the screws, well, the drill wasn't turning anymore, so we took it out, emptied out all the sawdust on both sides. Now that's done, we've put it back in. We're going to connect the blade to it again, and we're going to keep drilling.
Ali, tá? Uma rebarbinha aqui, ó.
And that's the hole done. It only took a full day to do it, but it's finished. So this is where the propeller comes out, and this is where the prop shaft goes in.
Fazer teste.
Mexe ela primeiro, depois tu filma. Fechou? Oh, beleza, velho.
Ó, testado. Telescópio no lugar, na mosca.
I can see you. Here we are, and the new keel is gonna get lifted now. Can you see the jacks working already? So up he goes. I'm lifting the keel. I'm really excited, and we're going to put some wooden pieces to hold it up so we can screw it. I'm feeling very important right now. So we are lifting from this point here, but there is a lot of weight to the front because the keel is longer. So we have to put some support on those parts to keep the keel straight, otherwise the joints will suffer.
So there's a few millimeters over there, well, not even a millimeter, being cut away. So this fits nicely. And then with these screws that are in the way, which are permanently snapping all the tools, have been cut away, the rest of the keel can be lifted up and that will look smooth. When we bought the boat, the keel was cut to fit all this, so it was like, let me think, that was flat, then it went down and then straight. This is just going to be one straight nice keel all the way to the back, which is really neat. And just so you can see how hard these guys are working, these are all drops of blood that have been spilt during this work. The tears and the sweat have dried up already. They're doing great. The keel hasn't been bolted to these frames yet, but it is sticking already. The bolts will just pull these up a bit more. As the back hasn't been touched yet, and the keel is now sloping upwards towards the front, the back's going to start getting lifted around the back joint. And P's not lifting it. It's the last bit of keel that had to be lifted. Almost there.
Oh my God.
Once it's up.
Oh my God, oh my God.
Once it's up, it can be screwed onto the boat and then we're ready. Ready to leave back into the water. No, we'll be ready to do all the rest.
Here we are, another day working on the keel. What we are doing today is trying to align it. The method here is a nail and a string and some of these pieces along the keel. So we have to try to make all these pieces touch the string all the way from here to the end to make sure the keel is aligned.
So to get this part of the keel pushed a bit to the starboard side, because there is the bow, they use a piece of wood that will push it, and a little wedge here just to move it millimeter by millimeter that way. So a lot of force, little distance. É uma
Ponta-leite.
como fala?
Ponta-leite e cunha.
Cunha and ponta leite.
Ponta-leite e cunha para jogar ela para lá.
Yeah.
Here, as you can see, I am at the back of the boat and the string is touching. And I see the next one is touching and the one behind me is touching. So yeah, the alignment is happening.
Anota essa ferramenta e entrega pro Toninho. Tá aí, Zé? Fui atrás pegar, cadê?
Hey guys, so now our keel is under the boat, joined, aligned, lifted, so we are this close from having it installed.
So what we need to do now is actually bolt the keel to the floor timbers, which we need to do from inside the boat. First we need to tidy up a bit because it's a mess, but we're so close and we've got a few more new pieces. So we hope you enjoyed that.
So we would like to thank and welcome our new patrons and also the people who donated to PayPal.
So thank you, Dan,
Marty,
Per,
John.
Kevin.
Ben.
Alan.
And Robert. Thank you very much.